Squall, check. 2. Dallas Tower, Outlaw 42, holding short runway 03 right for departure, flight of 2. Outlaw 42, Dallas Tower, wind 210 at 10, clear for takeoff, runway 03 right. Clear for takeoff 03 right, Outlaw 42.
Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again for another weekly update on news and information about DCS World. I'm your host, of course, Prickly Hedgehog. Glad to have you along. And apologies to begin with, just a little delay here in this week's video due to some other commitments I had with family. Sometimes life just, interferes with the things that you want to do, and that's just the way things work out sometimes. It's either work or it's life, and that's just the way things happen. So I apologize, we're a couple of hours behind schedule here. But nevertheless, this should be worth the wait because we've got a lot of cool things to talk about, a lot of things introduced this week, including, as mentioned, the Zone 5 campaign by Reflected Simulations, as well as 5 other campaigns and a lot of other goodies besides. So let's get to it, into this newsletter. Now, big change log this week, and one of the things that I've mentioned here is that this change and the change log will actually be the last update for 2.5.6, which is really interesting because we know that we are going to jump ahead a step in the game here and go straight to 2.5.7, which basically means that Eagle Dynamics is in a step in its evolutionary developmental progress here, that they're ready to, I guess, pop out 2.5. It's 2.7 rather than 2.5. It'll be 2.7, which is exciting stuff. So stand by for more information on that. I did see that Heatblur kind of indicated that there were some updates this week for them, and they were expecting bigger things to come through in March. So I'm not sure exactly when the next big update will be, but I expect it to be fairly significant just because of the way that the information is kind of bottling into this 2.7 marker point that they've said that they wanted to get to, which I think is exciting stuff. It means some good things are happening there in the background. All right, well, what is happening in the background? Well, what's come out of the background and into the game world, at least in open beta, is the updates to the F-18 Hornet that I mentioned last week. And these include the target designation functionality, which allows you to see the ground designation points and launch and steering targets for flight members and also friendly aircraft who are actually using the same Link 16 network. Now, if you have not already seen Wags' video on this, check that out. I did throw all of those recent videos from Wags up in the video last week in the description under the main video there. So check that out if you're looking for specifics, but some pretty cool stuff there from Wags, and of course the F-18 is really coming along. Now, its new features include the ASPJ jammer functionality, the GMT air-to-ground radar mode, and the C air-to-ground radar mode, and they've also added the BDU-45 and the BDU-45B practice bombs. Now, there are some fixes here for the hat symbol, which was added to the RWR for aerial transmitters. Error in offsite function logic of RWR corrected. Countermeasure programs can now be created with weight on wheels, or WOW, not to be confused with any other franchises. Radar sweeps stuck under high G load has been corrected, and radar contacts no longer in the angle on track zone, only jamming contacts, that has been rectified. Moving on to the Viper, some new features for that. Improved shutdown sounds, so a little bit of aesthetic stuff, but nonetheless significant. Fixes include a radar sweep that sometimes became stuck, and that's been corrected. No waypoints or steer points set for the TGP, and it would not slew in CCRP mode. The M54 showing as a U in the RWR. The Tank Killer, the ATNC-2 Tank Killer, additions include the HOTAS CMS functionality updated to reflect real aircraft, implemented jammer auto-off function in auto when threat is no longer valid, and the DCS UH-1 Huey, when using a head tracking or VR device, the gunner view and gun direction are automatically uncoupled. So the gun can also be assigned to access controlling devices. Many changes for DCS World. Some of the most notable highlights and bug fixes from this last update include the M45 quad mount armor has been improved, a desert livery for the BTR-82, the NS430 brightness controls have been added, revised multiplayer redout blackout pilot behavior, and the handy wind bulk carrier ship with functioning helipad is now available. Now, as mentioned, there are several new third-party campaigns which have been brought to us, and according to Eagle Dynamics, they've been working very closely with these third-party partners, and of course thus far, as I said, Zone 5 got plugged already. I've really enjoyed that. Let me know what you think of any of these other campaigns, if you're playing them or intending to get them, or looking forward to them in some way, or are playing them and have comments about them. But we have one for the Harrier, of course, which is the Sky Warrior campaign by Eagle 86. We have actually two F-18 ones. We have the Rising Squall campaign by Inverted, and that gets a little bit more of a mention here in just a bit. We also have the F-18C Operation Pontus campaign by 373VFS Greg and 373VFS Petritus and Baltic Dragon. So we've got some very professional looking campaigns here. As well as those, we have the F5E Black Sea Resolve 79 campaign by Sorrel Row, and the DCS F-16C, a Red Flag 21-1 campaign by Bunyap. So some of these names will be obviously familiar to you, who've already produced campaigns in the past, or missions and other aspects supporting the game. So we've got some really professional stuff kicking into the game, and like I said, those pre-flight checks, voiceovers, like we've seen in the Raven 1 campaign and others, these really lend immersion and authenticity to the game, and it's a good thing for players who are new perhaps to the game and looking for some realism. It's as real as it gets, really, outside of being able to go off script. And while the campaigns are largely linear, it's still pretty cool to jump the hoops and just go through that. Now, as mentioned, the Rising Squall campaign, this is a pretty slick thing. I don't own it yet, and I've only seen snippets of it, but it's driven by an intricate storyline and represents an intense conflict. We've got a smooth learning curve for beginners and missions that progressively become more difficult, and the campaign includes, of course, professional voice actors, and I will try to remember to put up the link to the video if you haven't seen the trailer. We'll add that into the description below for you. The Hind. I know a lot of you are very much looking forward to this excellent helicopter becoming part of DCS Legend, and it is going to be well worth the wait, I think. So what they're saying here is that the current focus is tuning this multi-crew compatibility and AI co-pilot and pilot features that they do plan to deliver with the early access release. Now, this is a big deal because in the past, one of the things that Eagle Dynamics has typically done is shy away from multiplayer. And then, of course, the game kind of got turned up on its head a little bit with the introduction of the F-14 by Heatblur Simulations. And the work that Heatblur has done has really laid down a tremendous gauntlet to the other developers in the game, including Eagle Dynamics, but also paved the way for the possibility, I think, in some limited capacity, depending on the aircraft, the opportunity to do multi-crew even if you don't have an actual crew member. So the AI is able to pick up some functionality so that players can still fly solo or do stuff solo without the need of a buddy. Now, that's exciting stuff, and it really is a game changer, I think, and really does, as I said, it throws out quite a challenge to some of these other third parties who are looking at aircraft that are multi-crew, and long may it continue, because it's some pretty darn cool stuff. Okay, so in addition to those things, and you're looking at images here of the Hind, hopefully, the unguided weapon systems for the cannon and rockets are already operational in automatic mode, and they're also currently working and developing the operator's ability to direct guided missiles using the mouse, keyboard, and joystick. So some interactive stuff going on there. They are also working on improvements to the 3D cockpit, as well as the English set of labels, which will be helpful for those of us who don't speak Russian. You, as I said, are looking at these development shots right now, hopefully. So lots of cool stuff. As you saw from one of my videos earlier this week, we had this awesome set of images from Aegis Engineering SL. I remember they're a Spanish company producing the Mirage F1. I know that Razbam is still working on the F-15E, and there was a scanned image of one of the multifunction displays that they were working on. They also released some pretty cool stuff on I think it was one of the lighthouses off the Falklands there. There's a short video of what they're doing with water and the rendering, if you like, of a lighthouse down there. And that theatre of combat, if you like, that map is being worked on along with a bunch of other stuff. They released some pretty cool things too with regards to the Bakura, I think it is, that they're working on, the twin-engined prop-driven aircraft. So there's stuff going on with the third-party developers as well, and I will try and find some time to pull together a little video so we can kind of summate that. And again, if you're a third-party developer wanting to give me a little bit more information or want to share some more stuff with the valued viewers, as Cap always calls you guys, which is a true statement, then I definitely would welcome that. There's a lot of interest in the third-party aircraft, and there's a lot of interest in many aircraft that are being introduced to the game that aren't quite ready yet, and this is a good thing. Variety is the spice of life, but not only are we getting these third-party aircraft, but the ones that are being showcased and shown to us and have already been introduced to the game, some of them are very, very professional looking and are well worth purchasing in their own right. Eagle Dynamics, yes, producing excellent products too, but as mentioned, Heblo Simulations' F-14 is arguably one of the better aircraft in the game, one of the best standalone products, and that's not to be disparaging towards any of the other third-party developers, but the work that they've done on that aircraft is pretty spectacular. And now we not only have, of course, the F-14B, which was the first aircraft that they put in there amongst the F-14 airframes. We now have the F-14A, and they also have the Viggen in there as well. So Heblo and Razbam and various others as well are producing some excellent aircraft. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for the game because it helps the franchise grow, and for us virtual pilots, it gives us quite a lot of things to look at. All right. Well, once again, thank you for putting up with the delay this week, and I will continue to bring you updates. We're very close to 4,000 subscribers, and I'd like to get to that mark. That's kind of a marker for me in terms of maybe going for a Patreon page. I'd like to do that as well, just to give me a little bit more resourcing in terms of what I can provide to you, a little bit more polish, a little bit more professionalism where I can. This takes up an extraordinary amount of time. So don't forget to check out the Tactical Air Warfare group, Tactical Pascal as well. There's some great other content producers as well that perhaps aren't as well known to you, but I'll plug those guys. Obviously everyone knows Grim Reapers. I watch videos from Jabbers, Red Kite, Spudknocker, of course. So there are some really good producers. Ralphie Dude is a phenomenal producer of videos. Again, very, very professional people, which I totally admire, and are producing good content for all of us to enjoy, learn from, and so on and so forth. So I can't thank everybody enough. Don't forget to throw your comments in below. Like, subscribe, thumbs down, comments, like I said. It helps the channel churn along. So, alright guys, this is Prickly Hedgehog out for this week. Take care out there, and I will see you around next week, hopefully with some more updates, and certainly I'll try and bring you some more videos and some fun stuff. So take care.